Welcome to the Zachrilege cast. Jeff Prebeg, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good. I believe we are have been friends on Facebook for a while, and I've seen you pop up on other people's threads, and thought this guy could be fun to talk to.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Pittsburgh. So Jeff lives in Pittsburgh or around Pittsburgh, and I originally was born there. And then when people ask me about Pittsburgh, I say I moved when I was 6. I don't even remember what part of town we lived in before I moved, but it was Pittsburgh. So, you know.
I was born and raised here. I grew up one county southwest, maybe 45-minute drive into the city, and now I live maybe a 10-minute drive into the city. I'm pretty close right now.
So you are very much, I guess, plugged into like a local free thought community. How did you kind of get started with the Pittsburgh free thought community? What was it like to get it started, and what's it like to continue going with such a thing when you're meeting people in person, which is weird to me, but whatever you do, whatever floats your boat, go for it.
It's a decent story. It's around the same time I got started in atheist activism. I've been an atheist for close to now about 17 years. It was really being in high school and having my doubts, and then being in high school when September 11th happened and seeing firsthand how harmful religion can be and what it does. It kind of just shook me to my core that maybe there is no God. So fast forward to about 2 to 3 years ago, I was in a pretty depressive state. I won't say depression, but I was sad, I was lonely, I was holed up in my room all the time, and I needed an outlet. I was an atheist in name. I didn't do anything. I didn't care. I listened to, most of my podcasts were comedy or movie related podcasts, video game podcasts. And I heard on the Penn Jillette show, I've been a lifelong Penn and Teller fan, I heard on his show about an atheist book coming out, Fighting God by David Silverman. And I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll read a book on atheism. I'm an atheist. I was at the First Reason rally, and I go, okay, I'll read it. And just reading the words and the message behind it, it changed my life. It made me the activist I am. I needed to fight, just like was said in the book. And so I just went on to Meetup, and I typed atheist in, and I found this organization that was already in Pittsburgh, and it was hard to join at first because you walk in and it was all just, these people were 60 plus, 60, 50s, and I'm a 30-some-year-old, like, ready to go, ready to take on the world, and here's these old people who kind of just want to sit around and talk and eat dinner and all this stuff. And I just kind of stuck it out because in the truest sense, I found my passion, and I wanted to do something. So I organized stuff and just kept pushing. And just recently we, formed our own 501c3, and we're prepped to do more.
Do you consider like getting associated with a bigger group, or are you just like, all right, we're our own local thing?
Well, we are the local thing, but we're affiliated with CFI. It's funny, one of our board members is on the board of FFRF. One of our board members is the treasurer for the American Humanist Association. So we're kind of tied into all of the big name local, big name national groups. And so we kind of just, do our own thing here, but with all of this input coming around. I'm assistant state director for American Atheists. So we have, a lot of fishing poles in the water here, just knowing what's going on in the country.
So is Pittsburgh like an underrated atheist haven? I know there've been some conferences, and there's like the Pennsylvania, like PastaCon, which is in different cities in Pennsylvania. And I feel like other conferences have been there. So is it a sneaky atheist location? I guess every area is sneaky in a way.
If I can be honest, it's not terribly. We have our local group, and that's about it. I would like it to be, and as vocal and as in your face as I am on the internet and stuff. I'm the only one right now trying to find more people. You know, our attendance at events, 5 to 15 people. Our bigger events, our bigger like lectures and stuff, maybe get 20 to 30 sometimes. It's hard to call it big without knowing how other local. I'd say it's average local, but I'd say, you know, there's a small core of people who want it to grow and want it to be a giant atheist haven, say.
Well, it's your haven, and yeah, sometimes it's hard to get speakers and get people to come in, and I feel like the groups I've been to locally have been that kind of size. Yeah, it's like a 20 to 30 people, and it depends, and people come in and out, and it's tough online. Now, some of my guests, and definitely at least one of the people in the chat room, are anti-Twitter, but it seems like you're a pro-Twitter guy.
That was a response to my depression state, as I say. I had a pretty bad breakup in a relationship, and my response to that was not only the atheism thing, but refreshing myself online so I didn't have any interaction whatsoever. So out of the blue, I just created the anonymous Pit Atheist account and just said, you know, I'm jumping in full force. I'm taking this on. I'm seeing where it goes, and started just talking solely about atheism and atheist related things on Twitter. And then, you know, probably 6-7 months after that, I made a new Facebook account. And yeah, I enjoy all aspects of social media. I run the social media for our local group. That's kind of what I was doing with the Normalize Atheism campaign. Yeah, I just enjoy, because of how small the local events can be, you need to reach out and you need to see what's going on in different parts of the country and different parts of the world. I mean, I have friends in Scandinavian countries and Canada and all over the place, and it's good to hear what's going on there as well. Puts everything into perspective.
Do you find that your Twitter followers tend to be more international? Because I feel like anytime anything happens in England, I am getting tons of feedback about that. Like, it seems like Americans are more Facebook than Twitter, at least American atheists. I have my like regular Twitter, and it's 99% American, but I feel like the atheist one for me is 50% because it's like all over the world.
In Canada's a big one too for me. That most people are. I really don't know what it is, but I would agree with your assessment there that Facebook is very American and Twitter's the rest of the world.
Not necessarily anything wrong with that. Like, I don't get excited anymore. Like when I find a new follower, when it comes to like fantasy football, when I find another atheist, then I'm like, oh, cool. You know, it's like, I don't even care where they are. And I actually go, wait a second, this person's in Atlanta? I'm in Atlanta? Huh. Could meet a person in person.
That's how I feel when I'm online and I'm talking and something and someone goes, oh, you're from Pittsburgh. Like during the Stanley Cup Finals, my profile picture is the Penguins or something like that. And someone responds in like the Atheist Republic, oh, I'm from Pittsburgh too. I'm like, why aren't you coming out to our events? I'm always in that mode of generating interest in our groups. I'm like, you're online, come on out. It's hard to get people to get out of their house.
That's true. I mean, I would guess since you live outside of Pittsburgh, yeah, getting people to go. Like the group I used to go to was 15 miles away, and it would take a good effort to go and 30 to 45 minutes to drive each way. And it's one of those like momentum things. Like once you're out of the house, you're fine, but then to actually get out of the house,
it's just like the current political situation that's going on or that went on. If everyone that was an atheist in Pittsburgh actually went out, our group would be gigantic. But the people that go out, if everyone who said it actually did it, it'd be a lot different.
Well, you mentioned that, and this is definitely something I've noticed, is that when you do get together with atheists, it tends to be like 15 and 30 minutes of complaining about religion, the kind of stuff that we all have. It's like 101 almost.
Mhm.
How do you get past that? And do you have like greater goals for your group, like things you want the group to be doing to be either community involved or politically involved?
We have a whole committee working on all of that stuff. Um, it's one of those where we have our basic social events of, hey, let's meet up, go to a bar, and there's that. But then we also have ones where it was just, we're going to meet up and have dinner, but with a specific discussion topic in mind. And deviation from that is pretty difficult in those situations. And we do those pretty well, but honestly, I want to get out more. Me and my one friend, we organized a protest when Joel Olsteen came to Pittsburgh and spoke at our big arena. And I mean, it seems pretty easy. Joel Osteen, a protest, those go hand in hand. But, you know, four or five people showed up at this. And I'm like, I know there's more of us out there. Neil deGrasse Tyson comes to our city and he sells out in a matter of minutes. There's more of us out there that care about these issues.
So what was it like to protest? Were there like pro Olsteen people there? Was there the generic, anytime there's a protest, there has to be the anti-abortion person with like the photoshopped dead baby kind of picture. Like I was at the Women's March, I noticed they like have to be there. Were they there? And did you interact with anybody like going in or coming out of the event? And
we were the big. I mean, the venue is like in the middle part of a big block, and we were on a main corner intersection, and that's where we had signs up and we were handing out pamphlets talking about. It was mostly about the money and religion and government, the interaction there, and also the. It was just about the time that report came out in, I think, New York. The Catholic Church spent like a couple $1 million on it was something to do with the sexual abuse and like trying to shorten I can't think of the legal term, but like you couldn't call it a crime if it's happened so long ago. I can't think of the term right now, but
yeah.
You know what I'm saying. But like the Catholic Church put money into shortening that. And so that I'm like, this is what your money's going to. When you put your $20 in the collection plate, when you're giving your money to Joel Osteen, he's passing it on to these organizations who probably don't have your interests in mind. And that's kind of what our protest was. And most people just breezed on by. Some people stopped. There wasn't. I got more hate when we did the some of the Pride Parade events and stuff that we've done, from the protesters there than at this event. It was pretty small. Everyone was interested in getting into the event.
Statute of limitations. That's what I think you're talking about.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of crimes like what happened at Penn State and what happened at Ohio State, and shockingly, the Republicans are defending the guy who probably defended sexual predators. But yeah, I've heard that about. I mean, the Catholic Church. Oh boy, I don't know if they made Mother Teresa into a saint yet, but like they found out that the group that she started was like selling kids in India, and it's like selling kids. Make a few bucks to pay for the needles that we reuse because we don't care about people getting better. We just let them suffer because it's awesome.
And I think that's why stuff like what we're doing right now is important to get that information out there, because the regular church attendees don't even know that. You know what I mean? They don't know that that's what their money's going to. Or they just, oftentimes they see Catholic Church in the newspaper. They don't even read it. They turn a blind eye to it. They don't want to think about it. It's not happening in their small community, but that's not where the money stays, is in their small community. It gets funneled to the greater church.
I don't need Google in the chat room like two people said statute of limitations before I could Google it. I'm like, yeah, good to know people are listening who are intelligent.
Yeah.
And that's fun. So you didn't have enough to do. You wanted to get involved with normalized atheism. Like, how'd you get involved? Like, I've had Mel Rice on before, who was really, really into it. So how's it going? I mean, obviously you got the t-shirt. and I'm gonna let you talk so I can turn off. I left my fan on because it's hot in here, but I think it's messing with the sound, so I'm gonna go turn it off.
Okay.
Feel free to fill. I'll be back in like 5 seconds.
No problem. That was my, and still is my main interest in this cause. That's what I care. That's what I care the most about, is normalizing atheism. A lot of other people have their pet projects, and I will 100% support them. But making it okay in public to say you're an atheist, to not have that instantly demonized, I think that is one of the basic steps to, political wins. And I think that acceptance has to come first before we even consider, when will we have an atheist president and all that stuff. I mean, if we have people that are afraid to say it in their daily lives, it's not going to happen on a national scale. So that was a thing that I was very passionate about from the beginning of when I joined the atheist movement. That's what featured my my license plate. That's what spurred my license plate issue with the state of Pennsylvania as well. And so I think Mel was on another podcast or something, and I responded like, how can I help? Let me know what I can do, because this issue is important to me. And not too much long after, I was signed on to help them.
And you have the t-shirt.
I have the t-shirt. I have the hoodie. I designed a t-shirt for them. All kinds of stuff.
So what happened? You have what is your license plate, and was it a battle to get it in the state of Pennsylvania? Yeah. Which, by the way, has been known as Pennsyltucky.
Oh, yeah.
That was from Beth, who, she probably didn't coin it. I'm guessing someone else came up with it, but,
No, that's a long-term thing. We have another one along those lines is you have Pittsburgh on one side of the state and Philadelphia on the other side of the state, and Alabama in between. That's another little thing there. As a little kid, I always had interest in license plates, and when we would take any long trips, I'm doing play the license plate game and see how many states you can find on your whole trip. And I've always liked them, and I've always wanted a vanity plate. And it was not too long after I got sparked into this movement, I want the atheist license plate. And for the longest time, Pennsylvania didn't have it. But at the time they did, just now. It was an online database, and you could type in what you wanted and see if it's already taken. Before, it was just fill out the form and hope that no one had it, and then you find out when you get it back. So I looked up, atheist was already taken, just spelled out plain. So I replaced the I with a 1, and I looked online, and it was available. And then I had like no God or something like that I also picked as well. And those weren't taken, so I applied, and I got it back. Now, I had applied maybe 2-3 days before the FFRF convention was in Pittsburgh. So I knew what to do once it came back that it was denied. I'm like, I know exactly where to go to. And with my Twitter following, I sent Andrew Seidel a direct message and said, this came up, what do I do? I want to fight this. And he gave me the link on FFRF, and I filled it out. And he wrote a letter, and the next day the state called back and said, oh yeah, this was an employee error and we didn't mean anything by it, and you'll get your license plate. And yeah, this was after the one of the local papers contacted the DMV as well, because they took up my it was funny at the time. It was the liberal paper in town didn't say anything, and the conservative paper put me on the front page of the Friday paper about this issue.
Because you wanted to get that, or did you already have
it
at
that
point?
I was on the phone finishing up an interview when the DMV contacted me and said I have it. So I didn't have it at the time. They were reporting church-state violation at the time. And they contacted the DMV before that too.
Yeah, there's definitely Pennsylvania's, well, I think it's America in a nutshell in a way, because you have the two big cities in a very rural area. And don't you have your own issue with kind of gerrymandering as well?
Oh yeah, I mean that's an ongoing. I think it's ongoing case. Oh, excuse me. That's an ongoing thing going around here. We just had a local special election happen, and the person that won that election will not be in that district next year because of the gerrymander, like the resolution to the gerrymandering, and the guy who lost is the front runner for his district. So yeah, we have it's a I mean, like you said, it's a problem across the country, but it's certainly happening around here too.
Yeah, we had the House of Representatives spot, and they had one Democratic guy, and they put all this money into him, and it was basically in the first ballot. If you won 50%, you won. He won like 48, and there were all these Republican candidates. And then once it was him against the total scumbag Karen Handel, she of course won by like 5 points, and she was the one asking the FBI guy the dumb questions during that horrible thing earlier this week, because she could basically take the money and cash in. And I bet you have your share there in Pennsylvania. I don't know. Is it weird thinking of like, is Pittsburgh considered kind of like Atlanta's like a blue dot in a red state? Is it similar?
It's very similar. I mean,
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania's not red. It's kind of purplish, right? There's maybe a reddish purple.
It's because of the population density of Allegheny County, which is where Pittsburgh is, and Philadelphia, that it balances out. But we are surrounded by red around here. I would say I think Harrisburg might lean blue as well, but around Harrisburg it's red, and the same thing is out in Philadelphia. It's just, there's relatively a couple million people in Pittsburgh and 100,000 out in the next county, so it looks a lot more red on the map.
I have like a record number of people in the chat room. It's crazy.
Woohoo!
I know, exactly. Now you have quality headset, but I have a feeling that's because you are a big time gamer.
Yes, I am.
What are you gaming now? Is it like binge watching on Netflix? I mean, can you play a game for 12 hours and forget that you're there? What's currently your obsession at the moment?
As interesting as it sounds, I can go into that a little bit more too. I play World of Warcraft. I've played it since just about the beginning. It's a 12-year been playing this one game. I don't play too much else. I have a couple emulators on my computer to play NES games and SNES games as well, but it's been mostly that or Diablo 3. But going back to your original comment there, I do a charity called Extra Life. We raise money for children's hospitals, and it culminates in a day in November where we play video games for 24 hours and stream it and do all this, promotion to try to raise as much money as possible for the organization.
Are you going to, is there one game you're going to play, and are you going to do, I've heard like Twitch is like what people do to like live stream video. Are you going to do like a giant YouTube video of 24 hours of video gaming?
I did it last year all on Twitch. What I did was I created a brand new World of Warcraft character, and I played it for 24 hours to see how high I could get it up there. And I'll probably, without going too much into detail, with the new expansion coming out in August, I'll probably just be playing my main character for 24 hours. And it's very similar to this. I mean, I don't know what the YouTube screen looks like, but I'm looking at a giant screen of you, and there's a little picture of me in the bottom corner, and that's kind of what you see on Twitch. Is you see the game. If you go to my page, you would see me playing the game and me in the corner, and I'll be talking to people and doing a better job of looking at chat and answering questions and stuff. But yeah, last year I went to bed early. I went to bed as soon as I got home from work, and woke up at about 11:30 and just went for it. And you have people all over the country doing this, so you're kind of spurred on by them as well, and people popping into your chat room and saying, hey, good luck and thanks for doing this and all that. And yeah, I'm trying to raise the goal this year is $1,000, because they give out gold medals if you raise $1,000 for And the cool thing is it's a local charity. So this is going to Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. And if you signed up, you could get your local children's hospital wherever you are.
But have you made a bet about how much money you're going to raise this year? And what is that bet? And it seems crazier than any bet I've ever made.
I went with I think it was $200. If you raise $200, you get a T-shirt, and $500 gets you a silver medal. 1,000 gets you a gold. And I said if I raised $500, I would get the Extra Life logo as a tattoo. And considering their logo there's a picture of dice and then a video game controller with angel wings and a halo, I figured that's pretty funny to have on my body, since I already have the Atheist A on my arm as well. Do
you say bud? Isn't that's where you're going to get it? Or are you
actually I have a location? I have my place on my right like calf, ankle area. That's where I'm going to get it. But I have 11 tattoos now, so saying I'm going to get another one's not a big deal. Kind of feeds the addiction.
This can be a tough question to ask someone who has a child or a pet. So do you have a favorite tattoo of them all, or is there a favorite, maybe a story behind? I mean, I saw the Atheist A, but feel free to
I can run
whatever
down,
you want.
I can run down all of them. I have a Doctor Who symbol, which I got at a convention. I went to a tattoo convention wearing my Doctor Who scarf, and someone said something like, "Hey, I like the scarf and excited about the new season and all that." And we got to talking, and I ended up with the Doctor Who tattoo. This one here is it's a logo for a local pit bull rescue. But it has a Darth Vader helmet on it, and I kind of like that. That was for a charity that I went for. I went for a charity to support the artist who did my big arm piece here. I have the Atheist A. I have on my right calf is one for my love of heavy metal. It's a big demonic skull with a sword through it and all that. I love heavy metal. And on my foot I have like a Bible chapter and verse, Leviticus 19:28, which is don't get tattooed, like thou shalt not have tattoos. So I had to have that one.
I feel like I've seen people with tattoos from Leviticus, and it's like, you're in the right book, but you're in the wrong part.
Yeah. There's so many people that have.
I mean, I've literally, but some do.
The anti-gay one. That's I saw someone that had that chapter, like the chapter verse, and then the words on their arm, and I'm like, keep reading, and that's illegal too.
Yeah, if you go to Leviticus, they probably say video games are illegal, but
not probably. Anything that's entertainment.
Okay, now I stood in line one time to get the Nintendo Classic, and I actually was like 3 people short, and I just had a coworker who happened to buy an extra one, so I have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I play Dr. Mario whenever I wanted to, like, just kind of walk in place, and it's really fun. But you like took things to the next level. Like, you do the whole emulator thing. Do you have favorite like
breaking
old
up
school?
all...
Yeah, I saw that. You still there? That was impressive that you called it before it happened. Did my internet die? No. Man. Hit the pause button. Hit the pause button. Okay. We're just gonna see what happens, people. This part might be cut out for content. We're gonna get Jeff back in. We're not done with him yet. We have at least 15 minutes to go. And I still have a third of a beer.
I'm back.
It's so weird. This is like the first time I've ever, like, your face is frozen and it's still on there.
I'm back. Is everything okay now? Is it sounding better?
I think so. Okay. I hear you. You hear me? We're good? We're good?
Okay.
We'll do the whole 3, 2, 1. So, okay. Yeah, so I got the Nintendo Classic is basically 30 games from the original Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
But you can, like, download any game you want. And I know people have this thing called Raspberry Pi. I don't want to know about it because I'll probably want to do it and take the rest of my life to build one. But what are like the old school like Nintendo games that you like and you're playing? I see you have the controller. That's cool.
I have a controller connected to my computer.
That's the problem is like each one of those systems has its own unique controller. So you have to buy the controller for no matter what you want to play. And I'm using my hands a lot because you podcast people are going to really feel it.
Oh yeah,
moving my hands. Yeah, I gotcha.
I'll have to send you pictures.
You can do so with your hands right here. Here you go.
Final Fantasy was the one that did it for me, the original. I've very much got into that game. Again, it's one of those, Mario can only take you so far. You can.
Oh, Mario can take you all the way, but then you have to start again.
Eventually, yeah, exactly. And so Final Fantasy, you could put 40, 50 hours into it and play half the game. I really much enjoyed that. And then the hockey games never felt right, but Super Tecmo Bowl was great.
That the one I liked because I could beat my nephews because they beat me in every game was the one they had the fat character, the medium, and the skinny.
The ice hockey.
I downloaded that. It's not on the Nintendo like the version, but that game I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah, that was probably the best one. The Wayne Gretzky hockey was very loose. You kind of just like glided around, and Blades of Steel was just too tough to control everything. So ice hockey is the best of the hockey games. But
are there games like Contra or any of those?
Legend of Zelda I really like. I was playing that earlier today, Legend of Zelda, and I didn't like the second one. Contra, Tetris, all of the basic classic games. It takes you back to when you were a little kid just sitting on your living room floor at 8 at night when it was very late for you then.
I wonder if Nintendo for you was like, because Atari was the one that my parents got me, and it was in the early 80s probably, and basically every game on Atari at the beginning was just a different version of Pong.
Yeah.
And then they had like Pitfall, which had a little bit of graphics, but it wasn't that much.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun today.
I had my parents had a Atari. What was it? What was the second one? The main one that had like the ET game.
2600, and then there was 74, but I feel like that was the one that was their peak.
Yeah, 2600 was the one that my parents had, and I had that growing up, but I didn't really know what was going on. Defender and all that. You were a blinking dot, shooting blinking dots at another blinking dot. As a little kid, I got NES for, I think it was like kindergarten or something, and that's where my love of video games started.
So you are an unusual character in Pittsburgh. Being non-religious, maybe, but also you're not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And I know 2 weeks in a row talking about football, what's going on? So you're more of a hockey guy, and the football where they use their feet version, the soccer,
and kick a ball
where it's not accurately labeled,
not American hand egg, as us people say. My dad was your stereotypical blue collar football guy, all of that, and I just never got into it. I didn't develop the love of this strategy as I did with hockey. I saw as much as you can say about fighting on skates, but I saw the beauty and the grace in line changes and all of the things that went with that I was a much bigger hockey fan than. And also when you get here and you already kind of have the anti-authority bent, and you see how much the Steelers are loved in Pittsburgh, that you kind of got to go against them a little bit. Anytime they lost, you were kind of happy with see all the other people at work and at school sad.
So did you like the Batman movie where they basically blew up the Pittsburgh Stadium?
I was there at the filming.
Oh, nice. I'll try to explain. So the third Batman movie, there's this scene where they basically blow up the entire stadium. And the best part about that scene is the guy from the Pittsburgh Steelers who is in the end zone and doesn't get blown up is Hines Ward, who would not have been returning a ball for a touchdown, but that's a football thing. He also
wasn't the one running.
Probably not.
During the filming they had the one of the blockers in front of him, and you had him facing forward. You had a blocker in front of him facing forward. You had the cameraman who was filming them, and behind the cameraman was a guy who took a ball and threw it over, and they filmed Hines Ward like catching it and making a move and running past. And then they had someone else run up and down the field a bunch of times and just superimposed his face on. So he wasn't even running it.
How fun was it to have like movies that are actually like filmed in your city and using your city as that? Because Pittsburgh is the city of, I think it's the Three Rivers, obviously. So they had to blow up a lot of bridges with CGI, of course.
Yeah. It's great. It's one of those cities that's not just buildings. So, you know, any skyscraper could be any city. But when you see the Three Rivers, you know it's Pittsburgh. And before the current arena, the Civic Arena was a big dome. So you could point it out, and it was pretty great. It's pretty great to see it. And like I said, I was at that filming, so it was pretty special to have them there. Except for it being August when they filmed, and I had to wear a winter coat. Yeah. Yeah,
that's the way it goes. The magic of film. I came up one year for the Tennessee Titans at the Steelers, and I couldn't get a ticket to the game, so I watched the game because the Pirates, the baseball team, their stadium's like right across the street. So we just watched it from there, and that was kind of fun. I just think because Atlanta's such a big film city, like all of the Marvel movies are filmed here. So Black Panther, when we went to go see it, there's a scene where they're at the London History Museum. It's the High Museum in Atlanta. So everybody in the crowd, that was the biggest reaction. We all laughed like, "Oh yeah, that's in Atlanta, by the way." Most of the rest of the movie, you would not know they filmed it in Georgia because, well, we have a lot.
Yeah.
The best part of living in a big city is you can have parts of the town that look like post-apocalyptic, and that's why you can do zombie movies in Atlanta really well. And then you have parts that are really well built up. So it covers everything. And tax break.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. Were you in Pittsburgh to see Three Rivers Stadium?
I don't think I ever got to see it. One of the best stories growing up was my brother got some pictures with Mean Joe Green from the Steelers because he was a big player for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he did not like signing autographs for adults, but he loved getting pictures of the kids. So my brother has a bunch of pictures with this Steelers legendary player, and it was cool that he kind of had that idea of like, yeah, it's all about the kids, the adults are.
He was the one in the commercial, the Coke commercial.
Yeah, the Coke commercial. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I can't finish the show tonight without asking you. So what's the deal with the sandwich in Pittsburgh that has the French fries included? And I believe you've had one of those recently.
I have. They're great. It's the restaurant's called Permanti Brothers, and it's three brothers that had a shop. It was originally downtown, and now they're all over the Pittsburgh area. And it's funny. I went to see friends in Indianapolis, and we just rounded a turn on Indianapolis, and there was a Permanti Brothers there, and you're like, that is a Pittsburgh thing. What's it doing in Indianapolis? But apparently it's a giant franchise and it's pretty successful. But yeah, it's meat on a grill. It's usually meat. They make
their vegetarian version.
There are vegetarian versions.
You make a joke about Pittsburgh being meat and potatoes kind of town, but they're vegetarian there too.
There's a restaurant called Meat and Potatoes downtown, so you can get it. But yeah, it has a coleslaw that's onion based or oil based, not mayonnaise based, and that goes on top of the sandwich, and it's thick cut Italian bread and French fries on it. It's pretty delicious. Like
coleslaw that's like kind of an Asian slaw, vinegary.
Yeah, that's what
be way better than that. But it's just, I think that what the story was it was like truck drivers, and they couldn't like grab the fries, so just put it all on this. Put it on. It must be some really strong bread, deal with all that.
But also, that's what our chicken salads have French fries on them. Just about everything has French fries in this city.
Yeah, I was thinking like last week, they opened a Hattie B's in Atlanta, and Hattie B's is like Nashville hot chicken.
Okay.
And I went there, and the line was like an hour, and I had friends who went there like 11 o'clock, and it's just special Nashville hot chicken. it's weird. Like I live in Atlanta. I'm like, what is Atlanta known for? It's like, what, meat and three, fried chicken, but they don't have that signature thing. So you have the sandwich with the French fries on it. That's pretty cool,
Yeah, that's our signature dish. It's relatively cheap and kind of disgusting. That's what we're known for.
So is Yinzer a gender neutral pronoun?
Yes, that's what we.
What is a Yinzer? And
Yinzer is basically
English that you have in Pittsburgh.
Yinzer is a Pittsburgher, a person from Pittsburgh. Where I'm a Yinzer. You moved kind of early. I don't know if you're a Yinzer, but you're a Yinzer at heart. But Yins is a term that we use for. It's basically the Pittsburgh version of y'all. Yins. Are Yins going downtown?
Yeah, you think there's like no version of that. Like I always in my family, for some reason they said Yuns.
Oh yeah.
That's their version. But my dad does the Canadian sorry. And I'm not sure that's a Pittsburgh thing or if that's just like his family. But it's weird that it's like all these combinations of different ways of pronouncing things. And I'm glad you have your own unique.
Pittsburgh's very a immigrant town as well. I mean, we have the Irish and the German and the Polish, and I mean it just kind of all. I mean, it is segregated, and you can go to Polish Hill and there's Germantown and all of this stuff. But I mean, it's pretty collective around here, and that's where all of that stuff. It's very lazy talking. I never developed that. I have a ton of people that say I never developed that accent.
I know you never really had
downtown
you have the accent, but the accent when you hear it, it's really like over the top. It's like a bad New York movie accent.
Downtown
it's like anytime there's a southern accent in a movie, my wife's like covering her ears because it's so bad. So the stereotypical. I don't know if you know like Dave Damashek, who does. He's in like LA. He kind of has it.
Yes,
I don't know if he overdoes it.
He plays it up a little bit on the air.
Yeah, it might be the case.
Yeah,
nobody really talks like that. Well, some do.
He had one of the best stories about being at the Super Bowl when he asked. I remember on one of the podcasts I listened to, he said, he went up and on the serious media day at the Super Bowl, he asked if it was a must-win game to one of the coaches, and they kind of just looked at him for a little bit. I love that story. I'm a fan of Dave. Big Penguin fan as well.
Yeah, and he does a cool series, NFL, where he does like what if scenarios. I'm all about alternate history. But
does he do the fruit of the year as well?
I have to ask now. You're not a stereotypical person because you're an atheist, but you are an atheist who's a white dude who has a beard and he's bald. What's the story with the bald?
So I've been a lifelong person that doesn't terribly care what other people think of me. So when someone says, "Hey, do you want to do this?" I'm like, "Sure." It doesn't. Like I said, $500. If I raise $500, I get a tattoo. Not another thought about it. I was in a theater group. We did local theater. Nothing major, but my director came up and said, "I need you to shave your head for a role. Will you do it?" And I just looked at him and I said, "Sure, I'll shave my head." And I never had shaved head. I never really was thinning up top or anything of that nature. I was like 22 to 24, somewhere around there. And I was I played Nosferatu in a play. We all did monologues, and without going too much into it, I was saying that Bram Stoker stole the story of Dracula from my life, as opposed to the real life. Nosferatu is. They tried to get the rights to Dracula, and they said Stoker's family said no, and so he just changed the name. But yeah, I shaved my head for that, and it was different, and it felt weird. And when my hair started to grow back, most of it didn't, so I just kept it shaved since then. And it's kind of hot now, so I just keep the goatee. It's kind of hot to just let the giant full beard grow, and I work outside in this terrible heat and humidity, so shaved head and beard, and goatee rather.
So we have, of course, two more technically questions. Of course, being the atheist who's bald with the beard, what are your cats' names?
Jojo, who came with he came with that name, and Jessica, after my favorite movie in the world, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Nice. a two-cat person myself, and
Yep.
they're outside and they care not about me.
That's how mine are.
Now, Jeannie was nice enough to preempt, because I always forget to ask my guests because I'm weird. I'm especially mind dead this week. But do you have a joke to share? I don't have to find that like joke thing, but this is all about you. What you got?
I have a ton.
I feel like you can say what you want. So
comedy's very important to me.
I don't think we've cursed this whole show. So you're open. Say what you want.
Change. This is kind of a curse-free joke, but anyway. So I wanted to keep it in theme of the Pittsburgh thing. Play that up a little bit. So this is a story about a little penguin, and he's out of town. He's driving through Arizona, and he has a problem with his car. He notices the car has a problem, so he stops at the first gas station he sees, takes it in, and asks, can you look at my car? I don't know what the problem is. And being a penguin in Arizona in the summer, he is kind of sweltering, so he stops at a local ice cream shop and gets a big bowl of vanilla ice cream, and he's just lapping it up, and he's going crazy, and he's a penguin, and he has flippers, so I mean, what else can he do? Finishes his ice cream, goes back to the gas station and says to the mechanic, how's the car going? And the mechanic looks up at him and he goes, "Whoa, it looks like you blew a seal." And he goes, No, it's just ice cream.
Nice. Good one. Golf clap. Got a hockey clap.
There you go. There you go, eh?
Well, where can people find you, of course, online, and Freethought group? Anything you want to share? And all links will be included in show notes, of course.
Sure. I mean, you can just use my name to find me on Facebook. My old account should be deleted, so the only one you'll find me, I'm wearing sunglasses, and the Extra Life logo is in the picture there. My Twitter handle is Pitt Atheist, PITT ATHEIST. I have a very unused blog at the time at pittatheist.com, but that has my story, a giant version of my story about the license plate, if anyone's interested there. And the group is the Pittsburgh Freethought Community, pittsburghfreethoughtcommunity.com. We're on Facebook and Twitter and all that.
Well, hopefully I'll have an excuse to get up to Pittsburgh, because they have that brewery in town that used to be a church, which is a very nice location. It's a little iffy about getting a bus after the fact, but it's a very nice place.
You let me know and I'll drive you. We'll go have a beer in the atheist car.
I know Pittsburgh is the place to be, because Jim Dobler is from there as well. I know every time he has a chance, he gets up there.
Oh, cool.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for being on. It's been a lot of fun, and
you're quite welcome.
I guess we'll let you get to your gaming and your cigar after the fact.
I appreciate you having me. Very nice. Thank you.
Cool.